way to do it is to do it through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So this is the first place you log into, and this is done by going to admin.microsoft.com. I don't remember what Bob's password was, so we're going to have to reset his password, and we're going to do it right here. And of course, you can do the same thing in Azure Active Directory, but we're going to start from here. We're going to reset Bob's password right here, and we're going to, you can tell it to do automatically create password, or you can just, tell him what do you want. And let's see, it says here, require user to change the password when they first sign in. You can certainly do that. That's very typical, and that's something that most companies do because of security, right? And then you can also tell it to email the sign-in info to me, meaning Bob, right? Here's his email address. But how is he going to get to his email? How is he going to get to his email without able to unlock his email with his new password? So I'm not going to do email. I'm just going to do require a user to change the password when they first sign in. This is what I would typically do. But since I don't feel like changing the password for him now, but this is what you want to do. Make sure this is checked normally. This time I'm not going to do it because I don't have time to mess with all that. So I'm just going to put in password, just something. And let's see, hopefully it takes it. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to try to remember it. So password has been changed, and I'm going to tell Bob over the phone, usually over the phone. I'm going to tell him, Bob, hey, this is your new password, and then he's going to get a prompt to change it. So we have to reset the password, and to do that, while we have Jasmine Long selected, we found her in Azure Active Directory. It's actually done right here. Very similar to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So it's right here, reset password. And it's going to be slightly different when it comes to options, but the location itself is, the same. So here's a temporary password right away. It doesn't give you other options for what we shown before. And here's for comparison. If I go to here, Jasmine Long, and then select reset password, I have more options when it comes to Admin Center, which is why I prefer to do it in here. And I also like the dark theme. That's really cool, and it gives you more options. And the most important one here, in my opinion, is require this user to change the password when they first sign in. However, Azure Active Directory doesn't do that. It just gives me a temporary password. That's okay. Let's see if we can log in as them. Now I'm going to log out as Bob. All right, I'm going to sign out, log out, sign out, whatever's preferred method for you to call it. And while that's happening, let me go back here and get Jasmine Long's email address, because we're going to use that to log in for her Office 365 work. And all right, I'm signed out as Bob. Come on, go back to login. All right, well, I guess it's not wanting to go back to the login, so I'm going to have to specify login.microsoftonline.com. I'm going to select use another account, and we're going to paste Jasmine Long's login ID. So we're going to click next. However, we haven't changed the password yet, so we're going to have to go back to changing the password. And here it is, reset password, and copy the password that we have, which is Wuku5226. And all right, let's do this. And we're going to use that password. I just did a paste of it. And now it's actually forcing me, right? Where was it forcing me? So that's good to know. And this time I'm not going to save the password in the browser because I have to change it. So I'm going to use the same password that we've just used, which is that Wuku 5 something something. And then I'm going to create a new password. And I have to type it in twice. So why is this happening? Why is this different? Because Azure Active Directory is actually related to regular Microsoft Server Active Directory, which is related to the domain logins. And this is directly tied in if your company is set up to use a domain login and it be the same as your Azure Active Directory login. So you can set this up so that it's directly tied in and is part of your domain. So Active Directory, if you are familiar with Active Directory in a regular sense where you have Microsoft Server 2016, for example, 2019, it's completely separate from Office, but when they came up with Office 365 setup, where you can use Office 365 on the cloud, meaning on the internet or online, right? It's the same thing. They came up with Azure Active Directory, which is also cloud-based. But in this case, Azure Active Directory is also acting as a domain, quote unquote, domain login setup. So it's based off of that type of style, off of that architecture in the sense. However, it has the ability to add licenses and deal with Office 365. So they made it so it works with Office 365, but is very reminiscent of regular Active Directory. So this is why it's doing that. All right, I'm gonna sign in. I've changed the password. I'm gonna sign in as Jasmine, and then we're going to just kind of quickly go through. And notice this one didn't ask me for Authenticator, so I'm assuming here that Authenticator probably works on the computer level, which is something I didn't know. I thought it was going to also ask me to set up Authenticator for Jasmine Long. Let me just double check my Authenticator app on my phone, and I'll tell you which ones I already have set up on my phone. And I have Irvin, I got Sally Mo, and then I've got Bob. I do not have Jasmine Long set up on my Authenticator, which is unusual, but it's something that we can certainly double check and enable in Azure Active Directory. So that's okay. Let's see if multi-factor authentication is enabled for Jasmine Long, right? And here it is. We're already here. We already have found Jasmine Long. The last thing we did was reset the password, right? So I'm just going to close that over here. And here is authentication methods. This is where you would set up multi-factor authentication for somebody who doesn't have it enabled. Very important, especially if your company requires you to do this.